Not long ago, the people of the official LowSpecGamer Discord decided to have a PC building contest where different people from the community competed to get the best value or the cheapest PC build. This gave me an idea. While I'm not the best PC builder out there is something exhilarating about building a computer and giving it life. So I decided to contribute my own flame to this fire, and I built this budget PC build that is around $220, or around $260 if you want to do something silly with it. You will see what I'm talking about in a minute. And when you see this computer, you might think it's a bit underpowered, but with a little bit of low-spec magic, I will show you that you can get a lot of good moments out of a machine like this. Cool? Let's start. Links to the build are in the description, but keep in mind I will be using the prices I pay for these components new in Europe, and I have transformed the price from euros to dollars, so if you look for these parts in the US, or better, buy them used, the price is likely going to be much lower. First, for the heart of our PC, I will be using the AMD 5350, one of the cheapest quad-core CPUs I could find, clocked at 2.05 GHz, and with an integrated Radeon HD 8400 R3 series GPU, which costed me about $46. This will be on the Asus AM1 a motherboard which has all the ports that we need and was quite a bargain at $45. For memory, I will add a single stack of Kingston 4GB RAM, valued at around $32. Since we needed a hard drive, I looked for literally the cheapest HDD in Amazon and ended up with a $22 320GB driver. It will take forever to boot up, update or install anything, but it will do. To power it all up, I used something that I got for another project, a 500-watt iChoose power supply. Although if you want to take this build to under $200, this will be a good place to start, since the whole build apparently uses less than 200 watts, although, well, you might want to do some research before buying a cheap power supply. To wrap it up, there is this very cheap Noble case that I originally intended to use, but we are building a really powerful gaming computer, so why not use something more fitting? This is the Nova TG, a case aimed at giving a gaming feel for a more budget-oriented price. I have had this sitting on my desk for a while and I have been looking for a project worth using it for. You know, this could use some LED lights, but those are really expensive. But a PC, no matter how good it looks, does not really matter if you can't game on it, right? So, what can the mighty AMD 5350 do? Let's start with the obvious. Skyrim on the lowest settings and a resolution of 1152 by 648. It does really well without any help. Not exactly 60 FPS, but perfectly playable and enjoyable. And if you want to start removing things to make it better, I got videos for that, but as I said, it does fine as it is. Although I do want to point out that this is one cool little CPU. I don't mean that as an expression. Even under load, the temperature never exceeded 30 degrees. Low power usage and low temperature. I am really impressed. Right, but maybe you want something a bit more multiplayer, something to play with your friends. I decided to try Rocket League. It required a bit of help from the internal resolution scaler to keep it over 30 FPS, but once done, the game performed very well for any type of online match. I did had a couple of intense online matches with no problems whatsoever. I'm often asked to try Csgo on almost every machine I own, and given its popularity, I could not ignore it for this computer. And interestingly enough, in the same resolution I was using for Skyrim and minimum settings, the game outperformed my expectations. It is worth noting that this, being an AMD GPU, even if it's integrated, it's subject to the LOD trick I showed on my AMD Csgo video, meaning that by adding the right value to the register, we can drop the quality of textures much further than the game usually allows. Interesting that this is possible on an integrated GPU nonetheless. But those are all a tad old, aren't them? What if you want to play something a bit more modern? Doom was my favorite action game of 2016, but its minimum requirements are obviously way over what this machine can offer. However, I have done a couple of videos on FPS boosting for Doom, and the newest one has a command for reducing shadows that can be quite game-changing. So I set the resolution to 800 by 600, used all my tweaks and decided to see if it was possible. So something that I also wanted to add is that Doom has this fantastic nightmare mode for showing metrics. I have more numbers that I know what to do with. So now you will have like a complete full detail of everything that is happening in this computer when I'm playing. Here they come. So, if you thought there was no way in hell you could, like, possibly get close to playing Doom in a machine like that, well, look at me now. It's not perfect, but it definitely is playable. And that's it? Well, how about that? So there you have it. Against all odds, this budget computer can game. Sure, there are tons of ways to improve this build. I am sure you will all be throwing them at me in comments before the video is even over, so I might as well ask you, let me know, how would you improve this computer? Thank you for watching, or for contributing in Patreon so I can continue doing videos. See you all on the next one.